We're going to get to Senator McCain in just a moment, but we're going to start with Phoenix police who were involved in an unusual standoff early this morning. Officers trying to stop a pair of pit bulls that apparently were on the attack. Happened in a neighborhood near 35th Avenue and Bethany Home Road. An officer was in the area, saw the dogs attacking a man on a bicycle there. Those officers tried to use pepper spray and their sirens to scare the dogs and get them away.
But we were unable to get the fire department to the victim because the dogs were going after the fire truck. Eventually, one of the dogs charged the officer. The officer believed he was going to be attacked, and he shot the dog.
So the dog that was shot was killed. The other was caught by animal control. The victim taken to the hospital. We're told he only needed stitches in his arm, and he is expected to be okay. Deadly hit and run last night involving at least 2 cars near 21st Avenue and Bethany Home Road. About 11 o'clock, at this time we only know a man was killed there, and investigators say he was hit by at least 2 cars in the roadway, and neither driver stayed at the scene. A driver asleep at the wheel apparently causes a small power outage. This is overnight near 43rd Avenue and Cactus. The driver fell asleep behind the wheel, according to police, then hit a power pole. He suffered minor injuries. Power was knocked out to a small area just south of Cactus, but then fully restored just about an hour ago. Senator John McCain's body remains at a Phoenix mortuary where people have been stopping by, paying their respects, leaving flowers. And as the Arizona and the nation prepare for memorial services, we heard some of his final words in a letter he wrote before his death on Saturday. So Marcy Jones is on this coverage for us this morning live. Hello, Marcy.
Good morning, Troy. Well, respect and honor are really the 2 words that come to mind while taking in the scene outside of the funeral home here on 7th Avenue and Bethany Home Road. Dozens of notes expressing love and thanks to the late senator, to whom many is a true hero. People have been stopping by since late Saturday evening when the senator's body was taken here, some bringing their children and great-grandchildren, many saying that the future generations can learn a lot from the late senator, others remembering a time when they met him.
Just wanted to pay our respects. John McCain was a very good man and served his country well, and he's a man that's going to be missed.
Much of the nation still talking this morning about Senator McCain's farewell letter to America. It was read yesterday by the senator's longtime family friend and former presidential campaign manager, Rick Davis. The majority of the letter goes on about how he was so proud to serve his country in several capacities for most of his life. He also had a message for Americans going forward.
My fellow Americans, whom I have gratefully served for 60 years, and especially my fellow Arizonians, thank you for the privilege of serving you and for the rewarding life that service in uniform and in public office has allowed me to lead. I've tried to serve our country honorably. I've made mistakes, but I hope my love for America will be weighed favorably against them. Americans never quit. We never surrender. We never hide from history. We make history. Farewell, fellow Americans. God bless you, and God bless America.
Back out here live, these Honor Guard members will continue to stand out here 24 hours a day until McCain's body leaves this funeral home. They're surrounded by many American flags and bouquets, many of them red, white, and blue. And of course, Fox 10 is going to be covering all of the events this week that are honoring the late senator, and we'll have all of those details coming up. We'll also have them up on our website so that you can see a full list on fox10phoenix.com. Troy?
All right, Marcy, thank you. Yeah, we will cover everything on Wednesday at the state capitol. Then we'll have his memorial service live on Thursday, and then events in Washington on Friday, and then again to this weekend. So President Trump and Senator John McCain, political rivals, and many have questioned how the president has handled the passing of Senator McCain. Well, last night he gave his first remarks on the senator himself since he passed. Let's get to Celeste now with more. Celeste?
Yeah, Troy, and good morning, everyone. President Trump breaking his silence about John McCain, making his first public comments now 2 days after the senator's passing. This was at a dinner last night. President Trump acknowledged McCain's passing and his impact on the nation. President Trump initially ignored suggestions from his chief of staff and press secretary to issue a full statement on the death of John McCain, and he ignored questions, but last night he finally weighed in. President Trump at a meeting there with evangelical leaders at the White House, breaking his near silence on the passing of Arizona Senator John McCain.
Are going to the family of Senator John McCain. Going to be a lot of activity over the next number of days, and we very much appreciate everything that Senator McCain has done for our country.
Well, that followed an up and down day for flags there at the White House. After initially keeping the flag at half-staff for just 2 days, here's a look at it. Sunday morning, it was at half-staff. Yesterday morning, back up to full staff. And then by Monday afternoon, back pulled down to half-staff. So after initially keeping those flags at half-staff, it's now, as you see, this morning at half-staff. The White House seemed to bow to pressure from veterans groups and others to keep them lowered through the week. Now, no secret here that Trump and McCain did not get along. And for his part, McCain had parting remarks of his own, a final statement read by his former presidential campaign manager that seemed to target Trump. He said, quote, "We weaken our greatness when we confuse our patriotism with tribal rivalries that have sown resentment and hatred and violence in all the corners of the globe. We weaken it when we hide behind walls rather than tear them down." Now we're going to toss it to Ron with some more headlines at this hour, too. Ron?
Well, yeah, the president has been up and tweeting very early this morning. It's unusual because he's pretty close to clockwork. His tweets usually come out about 7 a.m. Their time or 4 a.m. our time as he gets his day started. But either he couldn't sleep much last night or was up very early because the tweets started coming in much earlier than that, more in the 5 a.m. hour. And things were still pretty quiet at the White House when they started to come out. One of the earliest actually said, "Vote for Ron." What's that all about? Let me show you. So here are some of the tweets. Just before that dinner, the president wanted to make sure that just before the dinner, the president wanted to make sure that people were aware that he was endorsing a congressman. There's a big election in Florida as well today named Ron DeSantis. And then late last night, the president set his sights on news coverage with some tweets. In fact, or in the early morning hours. He said Google search results for, quote, Trump news show only the viewing and reporting of the fake news media. In other words, they have it rigged for me and others so that almost all stories and news is bad. Fake CNN is prominent, Republican, conservative, and fair media is shut out. Illegal? Yes. Followed by, he continues on into the next tweet here where it says, results from Trump news are, as he says, dangerous. With the fake news, they have rigged it. And so you can see some of his remarks right there. He basically then went on with one more tweet, you guys, that said, they are controlling what we can and cannot see, meaning search engine results, etc. He said this is a very serious situation and will be addressed. The president then also touched on the NASDAQ. It did hit 8,000 for the first time in history, and we're checking this morning. It's up once again. The overall market is, anyhow. So he clearly, you guys, is going to be paying very close attention, not just to the stock market today, but what the voters decide in states like Florida and Arizona. Troy.
All right, Ron, thank you. More now on Senator McCain's death and his upcoming memorial services. Arizona Cardinals wide receiver Larry Fitzgerald, one of many Valley athletes who had a very close relationship with him. And on Thursday, he will give a eulogy at the memorial service at the North Baptist Church. At his annual charity dinner last night, Mr. Fitzgerald spoke with Fox 10 about his friendship with the senator and on what he will say on Thursday.
Well, it's impossible to encapsulate in a short period of time everything he's contributed to this country. I mean, he served this country faithfully for a very long time, and I'm going to do my best, but there's not enough time in a day for you to be able to cover the things he's done and the magnitude and the impact he's had on our great nation. And I just hope I'm moved to speak a few words that will, just honor him the way I feel about him and the way this great nation feels about him.
A picture here. In recent weeks, he actually went up and visited the senator at his home in Cornville. Former Coyotes captain Shane Doan and ex-D-back star Luis Gonzalez, also close friends of the senator, and will be pallbearers on Thursday. He was a prisoner of war there for over 5 years, but Vietnam is honoring Senator McCain. A book of condolences has been opened up at the U.S. Embassy in Hanoi. People in Vietnam's capital stopping by to pay their respects. McCain playing a pivotal role in normalizing relations between Vietnam and our country. Former U.S. Navy pilot, who of course was shot down and captured in 1967. He spent over 5 years in the infamous Hanoi Hilton prison. Stay with Fox 10 for continuing coverage as Arizona and the nation honor Senator McCain. On Wednesday, we'll have live coverage of the visitation at the state capitol. On Thursday, we'll carry the memorial service for Senator McCain live beginning at 10 a.m. And our coverage continues on Friday when he arrives in the nation's capital for a public viewing. And on Saturday morning, we'll be live from the memorial service at Washington National Cathedral. All of this will be on our YouTube page as well, and Fox News Now, and our website, fox10phoenix.com. Thousands expected to pay their final respects to Aretha Franklin today and tomorrow. It's happening at Detroit's Charles Wright Museum of African American History. A professor of African Studies at Virginia Tech calls it one of the most important black museums in the U.S. and says it's fitting because Aretha was so proud of being a black woman. The museum hosted a similar viewing for Rosa Parks after her death in 2005. Fox 10 News Alert now. Skyfox in the East Valley, Higley and Inverness. Troy, what's going on here?
Yeah, we're just barely off the US 60 here at Higley, right in front of that Banner Gateway Hospital. This is the entrance here to the hospital, and we have a T-bone crash here at this intersection. Gilbert police on scene, and now they have the tow trucks here. They are getting everything ready for getting it cleaned up. You can see the crews there with their brooms getting some of the debris off the road. We do have one car up on the tow truck here that took the side hit of that T-bone crash, and then just a little bit farther down the road here is the other vehicle about to be put on a tow truck as well, with a lot of front end damage there. We did see a few people on the side of the road here that were talking with police, one small child and two men and a woman there on the corner. Looks like they may have been involved in this crash, but we're on no extent of anyone's injuries if anyone was taken to the hospital. But right now, if you go southbound on Higley at this intersection, you're being forced to either go into the hospital or make a left and go east and kind of circle back around to get to your location. So this is going to be shut down for maybe another 10-15 minutes while they clean this up. But right now, they're just investigating this T-bone crash here at Inverness and Higley.
Sure is good news that that little child there is okay, Troy. And I see that the airbags deployed in that car that's on the back of the wrecker there in the middle of the intersection. I tell you, that's something to look for if you're thinking about buying a car, especially in this town, because we talk about it all the time. Those left-hand turn lanes oftentimes are not signaled. You know, it's kind of a yield situation, and either people try to make that left-hand turn at the last second or try to make the yellow light go in the straight way, and that's where you get these things a lot of the times.
Yeah, absolutely, and you know, it's kind of a busy time of the morning for traffic to get through this area. You can definitely see those rear airbags, side airbags all deployed on both vehicles this morning. So nice and safe vehicles. That's great news.
All right, Troy, thank you. 7:14 now. Let's take a look at our weather. Andrea's over in the Weather Center for us. Corey's off today. Hey,
yeah, hi. Weather looks good today. A normal temperature range, but finally we're still in a drying period. And so we're going to have the rest of the week under drier patterns, and we really shouldn't see any chance for monsoon activity or thunderstorms until the weekend. And even that, Saturday, about a 10% chance, and it increases a little bit in the evening hours to Sunday. Forecast highs today right where they should be. 105 for us here, 105 for Gila Bend. Up north, just beautiful weather. Room temperature in Flagstaff, 83 there in Show Low, 89 in St. John's. It'll be 91 in Winslow. And lows tonight look about the same as where we have been over the last couple of nights. Upper 70s to low 80s in the desert areas, and cool weather up north from Sedona to Flagstaff to Winslow. We're in the 50-degree range, even the 40s there up at the Grand Canyon, 42 specifically. So over the next 10 days, there you have it, 105. We'll repeat tomorrow with sunny skies and 105. Thursday, just barely warmer. And Friday, we'll kind of level out there. We'll stick with the temperature scope of 105 or so with the clouds rolling in on Saturday, just in time for a 3-day weekend. Hopefully we can hang dry for a little while. So if you have a nice weekend plans to be outside, you're not going to get hit with the weather.
Nice outside this morning.
Yeah, today it is. Yeah,
so nice outside. So trending this morning, starting now, if you book a flight on JetBlue, you're going to pay more for baggage fees.
Wow, $30, okay, for your first checked bag. Now that's an increase of $5, but from that point on, a second checked bag will cost you $40, and if you have a third bag to check, $150. According to JetBlue, the changes are being made to help the airline continue to offer complimentary perks such as in-flight TV and its Fly-Fi branded Wi-Fi.
At that point, it's like you might as well just book one of those higher priced seats if you have a lot of bags with you. Some big news for people up in northern Arizona. United Airlines will soon fly nonstop from Flagstaff to Denver. That is such a great airport in Flagstaff. It's small. You just walk in, walk out. So the new flight will be added in March with 2 flights departing 7 days a week. The airport director says the flight should make Flagstaff more competitive to attract new industry.
All right, good news there. It's election day here in Arizona. Troy, everything you need to know, you've got it for us.
This is a big one. This is the primary. We're talking about electing a governor eventually in November. We're talking about one of the most closely watched U.S. Senate races in the entire country. Could go from, who knows, Republican to Democrat, but it's very, very close. Most think it's too close to call. So the polls are now open. The state holding a primary election. Carmen is live now with more on what's happening today. And this is a big one, Carmen.
That's right, Troy. You said it right. This is a big one. So the primary polls opened this morning at 6, just roughly about an hour or so ago, and they're going to stay open until 7. So if you plan on voting, you really might want to come out. Make sure that you're going to your designated polling place. But before we get to all that, I want to make sure that we break down just some of those very highly anticipated races that you were just speaking about. So here we go. The Senate race is especially of interest, and with 3 Republicans looking to fill the seat after Jeff Flake announced his retirement. The race is also more notable following the late Senator John McCain, although his seat will not be voted on until about 2020. Now, the Republicans in the race include Congresswoman Martha McSally, former Maricopa County Sheriff Joe Arpaio, and former State Senator Kelly Ward. Now, on the Democratic aisle, there's Congresswoman Kyrsten Sinema, who's facing off activist Deidre Abboud. Now, the gubernatorial race is also getting a lot of attention there, with Governor Doug Ducey seeking a second term, but facing sort of a bit of a challenge. Former Arizona Secretary of State Ken Bennett, and on the Democratic side of that is Education Professor David Garcia and State Senator Steve Farley, who are looking to fill that party's seat. But to break down what you need to know in order to come to the polls today, I'm actually speaking with our recorder here in Maricopa County, Adrian Fontes. So tell me a little bit about what everybody needs to know if they plan on coming out to the polls today.
So it's good to see you, Carmen. Thanks so much. One of the most important things that we need to realize right now is that the vast majority of our voters have actually already voted. Arizona is very much an early voting state, and Maricopa County is among us. We've got 40 vote centers that have been open since last Wednesday for early voting, and those are Vote Anywhere vote centers. So if you find yourself time to run an errand during the day or at your lunch hour, those have been operating since last week, and that was one of the contingencies that we had because we knew that this was going to be a big turnout. Actually, we've got bigger turnout than we expected, and so we've got a couple of challenges out there. We're going to be giving an update a little bit later in the morning, but at this time, all of the vote centers are running really, really well, and so we're asking folks, if you do see any issues out there or anything, let us know, because we are doing this in partnership with the public. That information we're getting on social media is incredibly important so that we can run this election as well as possible. So we want to hear from the public so that we can meet those challenges and move forward. But the vote centers are all open, and if people need to know how to find them, they can go to locations.maricopa.vote. Again, that's locations.maricopa.vote, and we hope to have a good election day.
Of course, and we can't forget what everybody usually asks for whenever they come in and head into the polls to vote.
Yes, the sticker. The sticker is the big thing, and we've had a couple of people get their stickers. In fact, we had one voter out here who was born here in Mesa, has been here for a long time. He's what we'd call an old-timer, I think. Bill, I had a great chance to chat with him, and he was excited about getting that sticker, too. So if you vote early, we've got stickers at our locations. But the other thing, too, that I want folks to know is anyone who still has that green envelope, please don't put it in the mail, because we need to have that in our hands at 7 p.m. So if you got that early voting envelope with the ballot still in it, seal it, sign it, don't send it anymore. You got to bring it into us so that we've got it in our possession. Arizona law requires that we have it in our possession by 7 p.m. so that we can get that counted.
All right, Adrian, thank you so much. We're running out of time here, but in case you need any election coverage, we're going to have all of that, especially on our website, and also your polling location for your designated polling place. We have that information on our website. That's Fox 10 Phoenix as well. Troy, back to you.
All right, Carmen, thank you. I think it's always a good sign when we talk about record turnout, because people are taking part in the process.
Right. That's a good thing.
That's how it was all designed. After the break, do you remember this video? Boy, there's a lot of talk about it at the time. And it seemed fairly conclusive to a lot of people. I mean, what was happening here? Wait until you hear about the decision. on these officers and what they did this night.
Hi, everybody. The eyes of the nation remain on Arizona.
Obviously, because of the passing of Senator John McCain, but also for our closely watched Arizona state primary.
Tonight at 9, join us. First on Fox's election results come in. Who will be the nominees to square off for Jeff Flake's Senate seat?
Also, how the Red for Ed movement impacted tonight's races in the state legislature.
Christy has your forecast. Jude will have the latest on the Cardinals and the D-backs.
Join us tonight for Fox 10 News at 9.
We'll see you then.